This is Urasawa Boys, a podcast where we read and discuss the works of manga artist and author Naoki Urasawa. Right now, we're reading Monster, and Monster deals with a lot of dark and troubling topics and themes, so a list of content warnings is going to be available in the show notes. Thanks for listening. I'm Samuel Quinn Morris.
I'm Matt Fennell.
Welcome back to Urasawa Boys, a podcast where we listen to the jazz stylings of Naoki Urasawa on the page.
That was a fun one. I like what you were doing there.
You know what? Thank God someone did. Hey guys, we're reading Monster, and we're having just a great time doing it. Interesting reading this time around, Matt.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of notes. Every week I say, well, it was plot this week, but this week I think it was the most plot. It's been
this time around. We're really, it's a bit plotty this time around. I also don't have a huge number of notes.
I think this is going to be our shortest episode yet. I'm going to say it up at the top, and then that way I can cut the trailer where it shows the length of this one compared to the other ones.
Okay, all right. Now you got me. Now you're sold.
Yeah.
Because now it's a gamble, and
now
and
it's
listeners,
a game.
I love gambling.
Oh, what? Hey, hang on. Quick detour to talk about gambling. What is your preferred? Yeah. How do you like to gamble?
So, I like to gamble with anything but money.
Oh,
this is important.
Boring.
I'm sorry. I'm too responsible. I'm too good with money to gamble with it. But that's why I like RPGs, is because it's gambling with the fiction.
Okay.
I think
sports gambling apps are legal here in Tennessee, and they love to give you free credits because that's the easiest way to make people degenerate gamblers. So I will do small $1 or $2 bets during football season, and during the Olympics, I like to bet on curling. I won $120 last year.
Nice! Hey, that's pretty good.
It was very fun, because no one knows how to write the odds for curling. Because no one's watching curling.
Wow, it's really easy to game a game where people are bad at the math for it.
I put it all on the Italians after the first game, and it was the move.
Listen to Urasawa Boys. Get gambling tips.
Please do not take gambling advice from me.
Matt Fennell, professional gambler. He's certainly made more money than me gambling.
Got it. The bar's low, but...
The bar... It is. Okay, do we want to... Oh, right. I forgot, because this is a re-intro, everyone. We actually... there was a false start recording where I talked about how my KFC sandwich got stolen, and then I put my replacement sandwich on the space bar and
stopped the recording.
It was unsalvageable. So we are reading this time around chapters 42 through 50. This is the back half of Perfect Edition, Volume 3, and the entirety of print. They're all print. Normal, regular, vanilla edition, Volume 6, and. Yeah, you guys might have noticed, I don't think we pointed this out last time, but the first two Perfect Editions were 16 chapters each, and the regular volumes were 8 chapters each, and starting here in Perfect Edition 3, they're 9 chapters each, but I did check it, and the page numbers actually work out about the same. First couple volumes, the average chapter length was mid to high 20s, 26 pages. But here in Volume 3, it's moved to right around 22 pages on average, maybe going up to 24. So, just an interesting bit of trivia there. At a certain point in Monster's production, they lowered the average page length.
Yeah, I mean, this probably isn't the podcast where we break down exactly how many pages each chapter is, but these ones felt like they were all over the place. There was a short one, and then one of these chapters is one of the longer ones that we've read on this show, or at least it felt like it, just in terms of what all was happening.
I think that's just a pacing thing, honestly.
Oh my gosh.
I know, it's really, yeah. Well, that's enough preamble. Let's kick it with chapter 42.
Okay, that's an even number, so that one's me. Okay, so this one opens, we ended on a cliffhanger with Tenma jumping out the window at the House of the Murders and Lunga getting stabbed by the actual murderer. So Tenma runs from Lunga, who has been mega stabbed by the murdered couple's nephew. Lunga shoots the guy a bunch of times and says that he's getting in the way and slowing him down, and then stumbles over to Tenma's car and collapses from the blood loss. Tenma tries to save him and throws him in the car and is going to drop him at a hospital, but Lunga comes to and cuffs him before passing out again. The two have a standoff in a warehouse, arguing about the existence of Johan. Lunga finally passes out from the blood loss. Tenma saves him and dumps him at a hospital. The game of cat and mouse continues.
Yeah, straight up. This is a fun one, and I do think that this one kind of reveals a weakness of our method. Because it really would have been best to talk about this immediately after the previous one, I think. But then again, I've never really liked a cliffhanger. I'm too curious to actually enjoy cliffhangers.
Well, this was the first cliffhanger we've had, so I don't know if it will... We'll just have to keep track of how many times it happens, because the ending of this one isn't really a cliffhanger. It kind of wraps up nice and neat.
Yes, it does. Yeah, no, this is... I mean, I think the summary does most of the work here. I think there's some cool moments. We really see, like, Lunga in action mode. This guy's a machine.
Yeah. I wrote down, well, he shoots that dude twice in the knees, which, like, that's pretty brutal. And he fires a couple times because he has a couple, I guess, chambers that are empty or something, because there's, like, a click. So he's just, like, blasting away at this dude. I think it's really fun that he gets his horror movie villain moment where it's like he sits up in the back of the car and is like, I'm still alive. Like he's Frankenstein or the Terminator or something. And his face is always like so big and scary. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, you know, his eyes have the dark circles because blood loss.
Mm-hmm. And those get worse and worse. Like I did notice that. Like that's a neat detail.
Yeah, I think maybe the interesting thing happening in this... I was just looking at it. There's a great visual thing that happens here. Lunga... so after they've crashed the car, they're in a barn, and Tenma's trying to, like, give Lunga medical care. And then Lunga pulls a backup gun from his ankle holster and points it at Tenma. Tenma's like, you gotta be kidding me. But there's a cool visual thing here where Lunga is pointing the gun up out of the panel. The tip of the gun pokes out of the panel and points at Tenma, who is in a different panel.
Oh, that's fun. I love that.
Like, it's really cute. Anyway, so like the centerpiece of this chapter is this conversation between Tenma and Lunga while Lunga's bleeding out and Tenma's handcuffed. And Lunga's just telling Tenma over and over to confess to the crimes. You're actually Johan. And the key point of this conversation is when Lunga says... basically what Lunga's theory of Tenma being the killer, a piece of evidence he's looking for, is, at your crime scenes there's no evidence of emotion. Emotion fades away when you deal with people's lives and deaths every day. That lack of emotion is always apparent, that lack of sentiment. And then, Matt, you want to take it?
Well, I was just going to say, this is the thing. This is how they both realized that this wasn't a Johan killing in the previous chapters. It was that thing that was like, why are they looking in the mirror? So I do think it's nice, like, if we treat those three chapters as a unit, it's like, this is the big fact that we learn from that like runs across those three issues. The emotion thing, which has probably been talked about before, but they're just really making sure we know about it here.
Yeah, they haven't... These chapters are the first time they've mentioned that about Johan. But what I like about this is that the thing that Tenma says about himself, about being anxious to perform surgery and be a doctor, we heard him say this before. It's not the first time he said it.
He says it when he's doing country doctoring. Like, that's how
Yeah.
he convinces the lady to let him work on her.
I just think that's cool. That he says it again. I don't know. It's kind of like, you know how you have rote answers to certain questions that people ask you, where you just have like a little spiel for this particular question or that one. You've got your FAQs, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay. Do you have yours? Do you have an example? Because I have the one that's like my example.
Yeah, I have one.
Okay. Mine is when people ask me if I believe in ghosts. My answer is yes, I do, but I would be immediately suspicious of anyone who told me that they had an encounter with a ghost.
That is good. I think maybe my right answer is like when we're talking about like places we've lived. Here's a fun Quinn fact for y'all. I moved around a lot as a kid, and whenever I say that, the first thing out of everyone's mouth is, "Are you military?" And so
I asked that.
Yeah, exactly. And so my own answer is not military, just poor. So there you go.
There you go.
Anyway,
there's
so
another fact like that comes up a little bit later that I have a note in a different chapter. It's a thing that we've heard a bunch of times that like I just finally noticed. But this thing about Tenma, like you said, him saying, he is very emotional and how seriously he takes it. It's an important character note.
Yeah, it is. It's a super important character note. It's an important moment, and it's also important because after he like says this to himself, he's like, "How could I possibly be calm?" And that's when he chooses to approach Lunga, even though Lunga's got a gun on him. Mm-hmm. Which is cool. It's cool and it's badass in a very not 90s way, in a very big-hearted kind of a way to me.
Yeah. I like, there's a panel in this set of pages that's like kind of a long one where Lunga is leaned up against the sandbags, pointing the gun at Tenma, and Tenma sitting in the chair, just kind of like hands in his lap, looking defeated. And like the lighting on that one, I think is real cool. It's a good panel.
Mm-hmm. It's a good panel. It's a good chapter. Yeah, and and then at the end of the chapter, there's Lunga, and he's squeezing the squeeze ball, and he looks like the devil.
Oh yeah, he's determined to win physical therapy. The note that I had on that little chunk at the end was his cop buddies show up and they ask the nurse like, "Hey, is he giving you any trouble?" And the nurse is like, "No, he's been like perfectly pleasant." And they both give each other this look like, "What?"
Yeah,
like, he's been perfectly pleasant.
Like,
and I like that.
Yeah, it's really, the last couple lines are really fun. He says it's the most fun he's ever had. He says chasing a criminal like Tenma is the best thing on earth. And he's got that look and he's squeezing the squeeze ball. It's very, like, he's a really fun character. He's a fun opposing force to Tenma.
Yeah.
It's
interesting to think of someone who is drawn so scarily, like you said, looking like the devil, is like, he's just having a good time. He's having fun.
Yeah, this is his happy face. He does have a big smile. I don't know, I think Lunge is interesting because one thing I love about Urasawa's work, and this is some of his work, and this Monster and Billy Bat are two of the better examples of it, but one thing I love about it is how he has a whole bunch of characters with their own goals and agendas just kind of in the same soup. And this reading actually has quite a few examples of a bunch of people with their own agendas hanging out in the soup and crossing paths and making their own choices.
Yeah.
It's some of my favorite style of...
I have some thoughts on that and what kind of like tradition that draws from, but when we get to that chunk, I can talk about it. Really excited about that.
Okay. Chapter 43, Rock Bottom. Says it all in the name. Mm-hmm. We open on Ava in the drunk tank. Just back home. She gets out, realizes that she lost her bag when she passed out in an alley last night. Gets back to her hotel room, it's been ransacked. Goes to one of her exes to ask for money. He throws her out. Steals some liquor from an unhoused person. And then meets a very pleasant fellow who just happened to get her bag for her. You know, last night he picked it up and here he is. And you turn the page. It's Roberto.
Uh-oh.
It's Roberto.
Just Roberto.
And she, you know, it's our good friend, Roberto. A very trusted friend. She goes to dinner with him. They get some drinks. They do some dancing, do some flirting. And then they go back. They go back to his room. And he wants the photos. He wants some old photos that were taken of Tenma and Johan. Or not just Tenma and Johan, but Johan. And Ava reveals that she actually saw Johan the night that he killed Adolf Junkers in Dusseldorf.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's chapter 43. Maybe, oh man, I think this is the chapter I have the most notes on, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Then start, because I only have like 2, and my first note is trying to bum a cig from the cops is lunatic behavior.
It's lunatic behavior, and then she goes out, and then she smokes a butt off the street.
A butt! She smokes a butt off of the ground in front of the police department.
The title of the chapter is Rock fucking Bottom. Man, and we see it, you know, like she's at this hotel, the guy kicks her out because she doesn't have enough money to pay him and she hasn't had the money for days, you know, and then she goes to an ex. She doesn't even know how to flirt. She's so used to getting her way with everyone. She doesn't even, like, ask, hey, you know, can you help me with some money? She just says, give me some money, and then when he doesn't want to do that, she says, have sex with me for money. And he's like, are you crazy? Like no, absolutely not. You know, she's just so used to having leverage, to being in a position of power. Like she has no idea what to do when she's not.
Mm-hmm.
And she steals this bottle of liquor from right out of this poor dude's hands.
I thought we were about to have a nice moment where she sits down next to him. Nope, she just swipes this dude's liquor and chugs it.
That's the most naive thing I've ever heard you say. And that's a crowded field.
Yeah.
Man. But yeah, so the reveal of Roberto, that's a Jack-in-the-Box.
Is it? Because I thought I'd noted all of them. I must have missed that was a Jack-in-the-Box.
Yeah, he's not revealed. There's a whole page where he's like, hey, there you are. I wanted to give this back. And then Jack-in-the-Box.
I should reintroduce myself. It's Roberto.
Yeah. And he looks so pleasant in here. And even more funny, the screen tone in the background is this kind of almost shoujo invoking kind of like lens flare effect that's clearly meant to, like, you know, to be very rom-com-y. But we know who Roberto is. This whole sequence of her and Roberto together, we know who Roberto is.
Roberto, so the like, motherfucker who lives in an abandoned factory.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's really creepy hearing him try to be, like, nice and charming and polite. I think now that we've seen how he operates. Because, like, there's a couple pages of that, like you said, of them, like, flirting and dancing and stuff. And it's just, like, it makes your skin crawl a little bit. It's fun to see that he's still around, I think.
Urasawa doesn't get rid of characters if he thinks he can do something with them. You know, like the detectives,
Yeah. How they've popped up a couple times. It's been fun. Yeah,
it's really fun to watch him weave characters in and out of the narrative.
Do you know what song they danced to? Because it was an Al Green song, but I wasn't sure which one, and I was wondering, like, if you just off the top of your head knew which one that was.
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not an Al Green.
I don't think I could
fan.
name a single Al Green song.
Yeah, no, but it is fun that he's called out Al Green.
I also thought it was fun that they were very clearly drinking a bottle of Jack at one point, and I was like, oh wow, he just drew a bottle of Jack.
Yeah, like, he doesn't just draw a bottle of Jack, he put the name Jack Daniels Tennessee Whiskey. It's got the label and everything. Like, it's not misspelled, it's not tastefully avoided, it's just there. It was the 90s, so maybe it wasn't as big of a problem. Then again, now that I think about it, there's a manga called Bartender, and that shit is completely chock full of all of the brand names and bottle designs. So I guess liquor companies aren't really.
They're not reading manga, is my guess.
Yeah, you might have something there. Okay, there's one more thing that I want to say about not this chapter, but Urasawa's work in general that this chapter kind of revealed to me, and I think it's probably common in manga in general, but I've never really noticed it, which is that what Urasawa does is the first panel, when they're in a new location, will be very detailed and will do a lot of... It'll, like, give you a very good sense of what the environment looks like. And then the rest of the panels in that scene usually have very little background, if any. But the initial panel, the background was so strong and detailed that your brain just carries it over. And you can still see it in your head, even though it's not actually present in the panel, and it lets the characters get super foregrounded.
It's like when there's a flash of light in a dark room, and It's like it's burned into your eyes for a little bit, and it's carrying over. Good call.
Yeah, and it's so powerful that, like I said, you don't even notice it. And importantly, contrast this to comics in the Western tradition, right? Where the background is permanent. That shit's there. Like, sometimes you'll have a blank background thing, but that's usually for a sitcom-style comedic effect sequence, more often than not, or it's used as, like, kind of, like a take-you-out-of-the-action sort of thing. But Western comics, the background is a lot more important.
How much of that do you think comes from the fact that, like, Western comics, traditionally, like, Cape comics, are full color, and manga's black and white?
Ooh, you know what?
I wonder if we were to read, like, black and white Ninja Turtles comics, if it would be, like, the same deal.
That's a good question, but think about... I don't know, though. Think about, like, the comics with an X tradition from the West, right? I mean, those, like especially, I'm thinking here of R. Crumb or something like that. And then you have that kind of, like, mega-detailed, like, heavy background style.
Yeah.
Even with the black and white stuff. I don't know.
I think Judge Dredd is probably like that, right? Because Judge Dredd is one that I think of as being, like, real heavy, and that's all black and white.
Western comics are also significantly more into maximalism, at least more often than comics from the Eastern tradition. And, the Eastern artistic tradition, especially Japanese artistic tradition, which I am the most familiar with, minimalism is definitely more of minimalism in a sense of space is certainly more valued here. And I think it might also come down to Urasawa's, making face first, face only manga.
Right.
Like, he puts so much emphasis on the characters that maybe that also plays into how little backgrounds he uses, because he just doesn't want us to look at anything but the characters.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that makes sense.
We got some good pod out of that, huh?
Yeah, it was kind of a mechanical one, but it's nice that we're able to figure some stuff out.
I like mechanical stuff. Real quick, what response did you have to the reveal that Ava saw Johan?
I think I said, "Oh, that makes sense." Was my first thought.
Interesting. Really?
Yeah.
It made
I don't know
sense
why. Yeah, it just felt like, okay, this tracks with how this story's been working. Right? Because it has just been, and not like, I'm not saying this is like, oh, it's a plot hole, it's a thing that I don't like, but there have just this plot has been driven on, like, a series of coincidences, I think, is the thing, right? And, like, people being in exactly the right place at the right time a bunch of times, meeting people who have been referenced by other people. Yeah.
I mean, Billy Bat. You think it's something here? Holy shit! That's all Billy Bat is. In a good way. I'm a sucker for coincidence. I think this is a cool reveal, specifically because it means that Ava has known the whole time that Tenma didn't do it.
Oh, that's fun.
Like, she knew it wasn't him.
I hadn't considered that, yeah.
Jeez.
She really just is out to get him.
Yeah. As we will find, okay. I mean, the theme song for the next chapter is truly fucking. What's that song? I'm gonna getcha. One way or another. Yeah, that's it. It feels like that's the theme here. Tenma gets stalked.
Yeah, what's the name of chapter 44?
Ava's Confession.
Okay. So, chapter 44, this is a rerun at the end of the first Tankobon volume, but from Ava's perspective, which this is fun. We haven't seen this before.
It's a really cool structural move. Can't wait to talk about it. Go on.
Yeah, because it lets us do a lot of fun things. Like, first of all, the chapter opens with, we get the flashback of Ava trying to get back with Tenma, and then we see Ava getting coffee with one of our faves, Dr. Becker. He's here again. There he is. And this is really fun. Like, Dr. Becker is clearly like, he's like low effort flirting with Ava is kind of the thing. And like, he makes a remark like, you never would have given me the time of day. He says stuff like, wow, you're really burning through husbands. And Ava kind of asks like, how's Tenma doing? And Becker alludes that, Tenma, the only thing he cares about is work. I set him up on all these dates, but he couldn't care less. And Ava tells Becker, hey, I want you to stop setting him up on these dates. And Becker is kind of like shocked. He's like, wait, you still have a thing for Tenma? So then we cut from there. We go to Becker and Tenma are on the way to a date that Becker set up with a state diplomat's daughter or something. And this is where we have the bit where Tenma sees the cuckoo clock in the window for Junkers and does his I have to be the most thoughtful doctor on the face of the earth. Stops in to get this cuckoo clock, which gives Ava enough time to beat them to the restaurant where she just harasses this poor girl. It's just like maniacally laughing and talking about how Tenma loves her and like talking about, stuff that they did together and basically scares this girl off. There's a little bit of projection where she's like, you're always used to getting what you want, this, that, the other. And then Becker and Tenma show up. The girl is left. Becker assumes, they assume, oh, well, she got tired of waiting and thought that you stood her up. So Tenma then leaves to go. I think he gets a page saying that something's wrong. Or I don't know. He leaves from here. Ava follows him.
He takes the opportunity. He's like, oh great, the date's not happening. I can take the clock to Junkers.
Yeah. So Ava follows from here. He takes the clock to Junkers, which obviously we know leads to the confrontation in the parking garage. But the new thing we get here is Ava was there the whole time. She was following closely behind, but one of her heels broke, so she got stuck on the stairs. And then heard Johann, shooting Junkers and kind of hid and was able to catch a glimpse of him as he left. In the present day, Roberto aims a gun at Ava and considers killing her since she has seen Johann's face. I was glad to see Dr. Becker again. I think that was the highlight of the chapter for me. Other than the structure that I already said, I think this is a fun one, going back to stuff we've seen before. It's been just long enough. Yeah, it's been just long enough. And I've always loved recontextualizing things. Mm-hmm. I like when we're shown things one way and then later we get to see something else. This also shows us, it reminds us that we only see what Urasawa shows us, right? Mm-hmm. Because the first time we went through this, we had no idea that Tenma was going on a date that night, but now we see these other interstitial... I do want to bring up one thing here because... Bring it up. This is now I'm going to pull from our favorite network of podcasts, Range Touch. This is a thing that gets talked about a lot on Homestuck Made This World, where one of the things that they are very critical of in the way that Andrew Hussey talks about the way that they write that story is they will say things like, oh, well, the character, I'm just writing to the platonic ideal of the character. The character is this thing that exists and I'm just writing it about it and describing what happens. The story's there and I'm just putting it out there. And the thing that they are always very critical of is that's not how fiction works. This is a story that you're making up. It can do whatever you want. And they say that not to be oh, well, you're cheating by doing this or that or the other. It's more just this is a fun tool that's at your disposal, this recontextualization that you talked about, right? You can show us things that it's not that we didn't see them before. They just literally were not there before. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he had this plotted out that Ava was there the whole time. But I think it's I think it's like I almost think it's more impressive if it's like, okay, well, I found a spot in this thing that I hadn't filled in, and here's how I can fit this in.
I can do that. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think knowing them, I don't know. I mean, it's a long it would have been a really long-term plan to have that ready to roll. But yeah, and I also think that this really stands in contrast to that hussy approach, because I feel like with Urasawa you can really tell that this is something that is being crafted, it's being put together, and that is being revealed to us.
Yes.
You know, as opposed to the homestuck ethos of I am pretending to be an impassive window into another dimension where these characters are real. You know, this is fiction. It's clearly fiction.
I'm impassive, but also everything I write is a big fuck you to the person who's reading. Sorry, that's just the way it is. You know?
Yeah, you know, and with Urasawa, like he's saying like, hey, I'm writing this. I'm making it. I'm making it for you. I'm showing you all of the right camera angles. This is my creation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's cool, and it's just like a fun little piece of puzzle box narrative design. Something else that's really cool about this chapter is that this is pretty much the first time that we see how Ava is truly feeling without anything else in the way.
Yeah, because I guess she hasn't like collapsed yet, so this is like ground zero.
Yeah, we actually like see her like thoughts. We see a few thought balloons, which we haven't really done before.
Oh yeah.
There aren't a lot of other characters, like, or even with Becker, like she's, you know, she can't quite bring herself to say it, but she is honest to a degree with Becker about her feelings for Tenma. She's following Tenma around, and we see her thinking, Tenma, you're mine, you belong to me. And I don't know, just that we are given a level of intimacy with Ava, with who she is in herself, that we haven't gotten before.
Yeah. No, and I mean, like, I mentioned it. So one of the things that she brings up when she's harassing that lady is she says, you know, I have a birthmark on my inner thigh, and that's where Tenma would always kiss me. And this is like an extremely intimate detail that is, I guess, revealing. I don't know quite what to do with this. I was more just like, please stop talking. But I mean, it's like you said, it's she's being transparent, right?
I mean, she is being transparent, although this is for the quite explicit goal of
scaring someone away.
Upstart. Yeah. She seems like a perfectly pleasant girl too. Poor thing.
And a poor girl. Yeah, I felt bad for her. I like there's a Jack in the Box at the end of that page, because when Becker and Tenma show up, it's oh crap, and you're wondering like, what is the oh crap? Like, did we see Ava like harassing this girl? Like, what's the deal? It's really fun.
It is a fun one. I waffled on whether I should include it, so I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah, because the oh crap ends up being she's gone. No one is there. They've been stood up.
Totally. I think last note for this is that when we see her hanging out in the parking deck, there are a few giant sound effects, and I don't know about you, but as I'm reading manga, since I can't understand them, a lot of times they just, like, my eye just flits over them. These three big sound effects are, of course, the 3 gunshots.
That was my assumption. I almost flipped to the back to confirm, but I was like, those have got to be gunshots. But I do skip over most of the sound effects.
Yeah. These sound effects are maybe the biggest sound effects we've had in the manga so far, though they're giant. Very, very cool, the way that they're drawn.
Hey, did Johan see her when she saw Johan? I can't tell.
It looks a bit like he did, because he's looking at the camera, which is in the direction of her. But it does seem weird that he would let her live, if he saw her.
My only thought was, I think she makes a noise, and so like maybe he's looking in the direction of the noise. But maybe I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe he's just looking at the camera. There's Johan, little pretty boy. And even more amusingly so, it ends with him pointing the gun at her, but you forgot an important detail, Matt, which is that they still fucked.
Yeah, that was disappointing. It was...
They still, like Roberto, like, hit her pretty hard and demanded, like, information, and then...
I can't believe she stuck around. I mean, he had a gun, so maybe she didn't have a choice, but, like...
I don't think, I truly, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. Saying using the word consent here would be a stretch. I don't think the sex was especially forced. I think probably she still just slept with him.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Ava.
It's fucking Ava, man! Like, it's fucking Ava.
That's Ava.
Alright. Chapter 45. This is me. Chapter 45. Men's Table. Okay, so, we open directly after the close of last chapter. Roberto pointing a gun at Ava. She tells him that he's got the photos of Johann, and if she dies, they'll get sent straight to the BKA. And then she asks Roberto where Tenma is, and we find out that there's been another time skip, because this manga just throws those shit around like confetti. There's been another little time skip of maybe a month or a few weeks or something, and he is treating... he's being an underworld doctor, and he's been treating an underworld retiree, sort of, out in the mountains. And we see them getting ready for a nice lunch with this guy, and he talks a little bit about his past in the underworld. And we find out that Johann, though not named, strongly implied, at the age of 15, created a massive underworld banking institution, and then a few years later, just left it to disintegrate within a day and cause unbelievable amounts of chaos. Roberto and Ava show up to crash the party and kill someone. And it's a very sad murder. It's pretty impressive. I look forward to talking about that. And then Dieter runs down to try and to be like, hey, it's lunchtime, and then who should he run into? But Ava, with a gun.
With a gun.
With a gun. Yes, that's chapter 45. Matt?
Yeah, this one I thought was... I was glad to see some of our friends again. It's
yes.
been a little bit, like Dieter and Otto, and seeing Otto in his apron cooking the chicken dinner, I thought was particularly fun. It was a nice little touch. That feels like something you'd see in an X-Men comic, right? Like Beast wearing an apron and cooking food. It's just like it's a nice little detail.
I like how Otto is a comic relief character, but not so strongly that you can't take him seriously as a person. Mm-hmm. But it's just fun. Like, he's like, it's chicken Marengo. The secret's in the sauce. You know,
yeah, because then there's a fun bit where Dieter's like, I don't care. And Tenma's like, do you have any soy sauce? And Otto's just like, these people, you're killing me.
Yeah, you're killing me. It's great, you know, he's got his little chicky wing, and he's just schnarfing. It's great. I love Otto. I love seeing Otto.
Yeah, I didn't particularly care for this mob boss character. I didn't think there was, I mean, he's fine. I don't really think he's as interesting as some of the other people that we've met, like when Tenma's been working with like Mr. Lawyer and Mr. Doctor or whatever. Like, I thought those guys were maybe more interesting.
Those guys were interesting. This guy is a little...
He's kind of one note, but, like, that's okay. This is the plot device, right? It's the exposition for the bank thing, and then the rest of this chapter.
Well, hold on. He has a more important role than that. Which is a thematic one.
Okay.
So...
Oh, yeah, because this is your thesis about loneliness and stuff.
Yes, This is my thesis about loneliness. So, as they're sitting down to dinner, this guy says, so this is what it's like to share a meal. All these years, I did whatever it took to make money. I didn't even know what to do with it all. I cut ties with my parents. My brothers don't speak to me. My wife and children were killed. All I wanted was to eat at a table like this. this concept of being able to share a meal with people, to sit around the table. This guy isolated himself to make a whole bunch of dirty fucking money. And Matt, underground bankers rock.
Oh, this is underground. Oh, is that who's rocking this week? Is it
That's
underground
who's
bankers?
rocking. That's who's rocking. It's underground bankers.
Yeah.
His wife and children were killed. So not divorced this time. But I think it still counts.
Oh, no, that's divorced dad energy for sure. Even though it's like technicality. Yeah. No, there's, well, I think building on what you said, I mean, like when he tells a story about the underground bank, I think Dieter makes a comment like, well, I mean, if they all could have just sat down at dinner like we are right now, everyone probably didn't have to die. Or maybe that's even the mob boss himself says that. But someone makes that comment that like, hey, if we could come together and talk this through, like we could avoid this disaster, this catastrophe.
Yeah.
I had, before we move on to like the end, the note that I had about this was, because this comes up, Tenma has treated this guy, right? And the guy's like, Dr. Tenma, you saved my life. And Tenma really severely downplays what he did, right? He says like, well, it was basically a scratch and like it was a small bullet wound in your leg. And then he says like, you were just really lucky. And I realize like this is the thing that people have said all the time about the way that Dr. Tenma works is everyone who comes in who they've seen, the first thing that everyone who is commenting on it says is like, you were so lucky. You were so lucky that you crossed paths with Tenma. Oh. Like he's always downplaying his skill, right? Like he's never, like he's just he's not arrogant. He's very humble about it. And it's just, he's quick to pass it off on, hey, you just got lucky this time. And I think that builds on kind of what we were saying about like, hey, this manga is built a lot on like coincidence and people being in the right place at the right time. I think it's interesting to, I don't know if that one means anything, but I noticed it this time because I think someone says it a little bit later too.
People know that you mentioned like every time Tenma saved someone, another person was like, "Boy, you sure were lucky Tenma was around." Mm-hmm. And that's really let's pop that one in the oven. We'll keep it around. Let's 450 and just pop it in there for a bit. There's a little attempt at a use of an image here that I think isn't super successful. The chapter kind of starts with an image of like a line of ants on the ground. It
Two
really
thumbs
is,
down. Don't
yeah,
like this.
This one's a miss. It's a miss. So the guy's talking about how Johann collapsed the bank, and he says it was like he was performing an experiment to learn how adults relate to money, the way a child toys with a line of ants. And it's like, oh, and it shows us the ants again, and it's like, yeah, come on.
Yeah, it's a little messy. I mean, it's supposed to be that idea of like, you think of like, a disturbed kid melting ants with like a magnifying glass or something.
Yeah.
But that's not explicitly what they say, right? They just talk about like a line of ants, and the image comes up again at the end with the bodyguard who's murdered. Like the ants are walking past him, and like it just doesn't work. I mean, this is like a move that Grant Morrison likes to do a lot. Like this is something that like where we see an image at the start and then we see it again at the end, and it's like, damn, now I feel like crying. But like it just doesn't work here.
No. And it's funny because I'm normally a real sucker for this kind of thing. But this is a particularly unsuccessful attempt at it. I think honestly the metaphor might have been more powerful without the accompanying imagery. If he had just said a child toying with a line of ants, then I might have in my head imagined it and got a chill down my spine. But instead, I just see some ants on the ground, and I'm like, oh, that's not very scary. Those are just some ants. Mm-hmm. I do think my last thing here is the fastest turnaround from me caring about a character to them dying in history.
Oh, that poor guy, Helmet.
That poor Helmet.
Dieter loves that his name is Helmet. That's my note. Dieter's like, his name's Helmet?
His name's Helmet? Yeah. So the banker is like, could you invite Helmet to lunch? He's the only family I've got left. Tell him to come eat with us and we'll talk about what to do next. Next page. The very next page. Roberto shows up, sticks a gun in Helmut's face. Bam. Fucking... Man.
Wasted. Yeah, it was that's a bummer.
It bummed me out, dude. It bummed me out.
Yeah.
Also, interestingly, real quick, the sound effect for Roberto firing this gun, and the same effect is used later when Ava fires it next episode, is Doshu instead of Don, because it's silenced.
He's got a big ol' silencer on there.
Got a big ol' silencer on there, so the onomatopoeia changed.
That's always fun.
All right, let's kick it. Next chapter.
Chapter 46. This one is entitled Unseen Enemy. Okay. Ava tells Dieter to run back up the hill and warn Tenma. She is immediately shot, and Dieter tries to help. They're held in position by Roberto, who keeps kind of shooting at them a little bit. They can't see where he is. He's the unseen enemy. And Ava tries to fire back. Dieter and Ava discuss their relationships with Tenma, and Ava reveals to Dieter, she just kind of loudly says it, that she has those pictures, and they're going to go to the BKA if she dies, but then she kind of whispers that, hey, that's a lie, and she thinks that Roberto knows that was a lie. Dieter promises that Tenma will come and save Ava. Tenma shows up with a gun. Ava reveals she wants to save him just so she can get him thrown in jail for life, and he can spend the rest of his life regretting that he dumped her. She passes out, mumbling that he won't come over and over, and then we cut to the mob boss. Ava's in a wheelchair, and he is bandaged up. He's setting the table for dinner. He's cooked the same thing that Otto cooked, the chicken moringa. He tells her that, hey, Roberto is basically using you as bait because he knew there was only one way up this hill, so he sent you up to get taken out first, but then you turned on him, so he ran away. He tells her that Tenma headed to Munich, which was kind of where they thought maybe that underworld bank had collapsed. And the chapter closes with him saying, "You're like me, aren't you? You've forgotten what it's like to share a meal with someone." And they kind of quietly sit there and eat their dinner.
Yeah.
It's a good closing panel.
It's a really nice closing panel. Yeah, I don't have a whole awful lot of notes here. I think the summary really gets most of the important stuff. Dieter has great chemistry with every character in this manga. You can put him in a scene with goddamn anybody, and it's gonna be great.
Yeah, he really breaks the rule of kid characters in stories like this, where it's like he's not annoying when you like. He's just very sweet and lovable, and everyone, I guess no one really spends too much time commenting on the fact that, like, hey, you're a kid, what are you doing here? They just kind of are like, okay, there's this kid that's here that I guess is buddies with Tenma. Because I think Ava asks him, like, why, do you love Tenma? He says, yeah, sure I do. I mean, like, why wouldn't I? And then he kind of puts it together that, like, oh, you're Tenma's girlfriend, right? And, like, he keeps asking her these questions that she won't answer. Partially because she's been shot and is in a gunfight, but also because, like, there's no easy answers to these questions.
It's also a really fun thing for a kid to be asking you, like, hey, are you Tenma's girlfriend in the middle of a gunfight?
Quinn, when was the last time a child asked you if someone was your girlfriend or partner or something? Like, is that something that has happened to you?
I haven't interacted directly with a child in a very long time.
Okay, I've got little
like
cousins,
years.
So that that live around here, but it is always a harrowing experience.
You know what? I guess there was at the place where I was staying over Christmas. There was like a kid there, but he didn't ask me that question.
Yeah.
What if somebody asked me that? I guess I would just tell them I'm alone forever, probably.
Oh, I just pretend not to hear them. Is usually what I do. or I look at the person who they are referring and say, "Well, what's the answer?"
Wow. Bold. Yeah. We got a Jack in the Box here. So we hear a gunshot, right? So as Dieter starts to get going to Tenma, initially he hears a gunshot, and once again the onomatopoeia is different. This is pam, which is, so Ava has the silenced gun that Roberto used to kill poor Helmut, and he's now using a different gun which is not silenced and which seems, by looking at it, kind of a lower caliber, lighter weapon, And he's firing from a distance, so that's why the onomatopoeia is pan instead of don. And so he hears the gunshot, and he looks over his shoulder, and we get a jack-in-the-box. And we're like, oh god, how bad is it? And then we see Ava lying on the ground. And then we find out it's just a leg wound. But it's a pretty good little one.
Mm-hmm. The only note that I have at the end is I like the transition from her passing out to being at the table, because it's like it's a cloth flapping in the wind, and you're like, is this a curtain? What is this? And it's the mob boss putting a tablecloth on the table. Like, there's something about that I like, that transition.
Oh, I missed that. That is a really good. Oh, that's cute. That's nice.
Yeah.
I think my last important note here is that Dieter asks her, what do you love about Tenma? And the next panel is just a picture of her face, and like she doesn't say anything. And I love a panel like that where you're just like sitting with the character in that question.
Yeah, good stuff. The mob boss also tells her that she was lucky to run into Tenma. Yeah. So the same thing coming up again.
You really got lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't got anything else for this one. It was kind of one note.
Yeah, it really is. Really well. It's two. It's 2 notes.
2 notes. Okay, that's fair. All. Yeah.
And now we got some other stuff. Oh boy.
We are entering the Munich zone.
Yeah, all aboard for Munich. Chapter 47. Tuesday's Boy. Urasawa Open.
Mm-hmm.
Karl Newberg is reading a book to Hans Georg Schuwald, who tells him his Latin is atrocious. Get the fuck out. Karl makes a new friend in Lotta Charlotte, who is a particularly nosy college student. Both of them are college students, but Lotta is the nosy one. We learn that Karl grew up in the foster system, and came to Munich to try and find his birth mother, named Margot Langer, who Lotta does a little bit of research on because, as stated, she's nosy and finds out that woman is dead. But she also says that there is a little legend about Mr. Hans Georg Schuwald, one of the richest men in Germany, and that is that he is a vampire or something, and she says that she's seen him going downtown late at night. Karl says, I'll go with you. There's a quick cutaway to a really stupid thing that we can talk about later, but it's stupid. And then we cut to downtown. Karl and Lotta are following Hans, and they follow him to the red light district and to a lady who claims to be Margot Langer for approximately 2 pages before revealing she's not Margot Langer. And Hans Georg Schuwald comes to meet her and give her money, even though he also knows she's not the real Margot Langer, because he feels, basically, Schuwald is Karl's dad. Is Karl's dad by way of Margot Langer, and feels like shit for how he treated her. So then he's giving money to this fake one to absolve himself because it's the only way he knows how. And she also says that there is another boy that claims to be Schuwald's son, and Lotta knows the boy mentioned, and she says he is blonde and extremely handsome. Whew, this one was really hard to summarize. This
one's long and dense. Let me see, how many sentences was my summary? I mean, this is long. Doing it
beforehand, how long is this one? A couple paragraphs. Okay, Tuesday's Boy. Yeah, you're right, actually. This is a pretty chunky chapter.
This one pages. Felt long. This one felt longer than the other ones. And you, yes. So you skipped over, and you said you think the cutaway's stupid, but
I think it's stupid.
I don't understand it. It doesn't fit with anything that we've seen before, but I do think it's interesting, we cut away to it's the paranormal society on the campus of their college, and they're reading like a prophecy from one of the college's founders that is like, hey, in the last leap year, I mean, of course it's written kind of like a riddle, but it's like, in the last leap year of the millennium, Thursday's boy will arise and set fire to the campus and start a bunch of sadness or something. And they're like, what is this? We need to let everyone know. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. Oh, and I guess I should have mentioned the monster in the prophecy is called the Thursday Boy, and it's implied that the Thursday Boy is the other one claiming to be his son.
And we're meant to assume that it's Johan
We're meant to assume it's Johan. Yeah.
From the way a lot describes him.
Blonde and handsome. Oh, we as the
who do we know that's blonde and handsome?
It's Johan. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And who is a monster? It's Johan, right? Is the thing. The thing that I think is interesting about them is you and I have talked about, like, hey, there's the manga flirts with the idea that Johan is some supernatural evil. And this is like the closest that it's gotten to being like explicitly, hey, there are prophecies about Johan showing up.
That's the weird thing. Why is there an actual prophecy? And you know what the other fucking weird thing is? Not to spoil anything, sorry readers or sorry listeners. I'll just let you know, Johan's
not the Thursday boy.
Johan's the Friday boy. So it's an incorrect prophecy that is just there to throw us off. It's there to make us really think the Thursday boy is Johan. Did Urasawa like think of it before deciding Johan wasn't the Thursday boy? Did this fall through the cracks? It's just it's weird on several levels to me.
It's really bizarre. But what I will say is that cutaway helped me to develop my theory about, well, not a theory, but like I mentioned that, hey, I feel like this story draws from a tradition that's a little bit older. Quinn, have you read The Count of Monte Cristo?
I'm looking at the camera.
Yeah. And you were
Where's he gonna go with this?
Where's he going with this? Okay, so The Count of Monte Cristo, for those who don't know, is I think it's Victorian era. I don't know. It's around the same time as Charles Dickens. It's written by Alexander Dumas, who is the author of, The Three Musketeers. Count of Monte Cristo is the story about a guy who he's said to be married, but all of his friends decide that actually they hate him. So they frame him for a murder, and he goes to jail he's sent to prison for life. He manages to escape, and using some information that he got from a fellow inmate, he becomes fabulously wealthy. And sets himself up as this mysterious count who works his way back into all of the people who wronged him's lives. And it's this huge interconnected web of characters, right? And it's all these you get just over the course of it's a massive novel, right? Like over the course of the whole novel, you get all these little stories about people that don't seem like they're related at all. But everything just kind of ties back to it's characters that we have seen that disappear and come back. It's there. Everything's a big web that connects, and it's all these chains of coincidences that work through all these stories where everything ties up into this nice, neat little bow at the end. I read it when I was in high school, and like the project that I did for English class was I made a map of all the characters and how they relate to each other. And I think this is kind of like a common mode for those serialized stories in that era. Like if you think about things like A Tale of Two Cities or any like Charles Dickens books, a lot of them work in the same way, right? Because they're serialized from week to week. So it's like we need all these small little stories, and how does it connect into the larger thing that's going on? We've got this episodic structure that is drawing on kind of like archetypes and stuff that we're familiar with. I mean, like in Count of Monte Cristo, there's one plot line that is basically Romeo and Juliet, like beat for beat. And then so we're using stuff that we're familiar with and folding all these pieces into a bigger story that's all still remains connected. And that's what this made me think of, like this cutaway. Hey, we have talked over and over and over again about the Urasawa cold open, right? And like how we see these people that aren't related to the story, and then it turns out that they are. And the web just keeps expanding further and further outward. And I think this is the biggest jump yet. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
We are further from the main plot than we have ever been before at this point.
Yeah, I mean, this chapter by itself has absolutely no connection to no explicit connection to the wider goings on of Monster. It's completely isolated, that's a new one. Like, we've had Urasawa opens before, but usually
they resolve in a page or two,
like
or three.
In a page or two, or even like halfway through the chapter. This is a whole chapter without that resolution, unless you count the toy reveal
that maybe this is Johan.
Yeah, Matt, that's really fucking that's a great pull.
Thank you. I was happy with it.
Yeah, that's fucking great. I like that a lot.
Yeah, the other thing.
Well, if that's how those old things are set up, I should honestly read them because it's a structure I really love.
They're hard to read is the one thing that I will say. Like, I gave up on Three Musketeers. It was too hard for me to read because they are long. Is like the thing with those books. Yeah. But I did really like Count of Monte Cristo when I read it.
Okay. All right. Let's see. What notes do I have for this chapter? Carl. Did I say Lotta Charlotte? Is that her actual name?
It's Lotta Frank. But
it's Lotta Frank. Why did I say Charlotte?
I typed everyone's names wrong the first time I wrote my summary.
It's because, you know what it is? It's because Lotta is
Charlotte.
Is short for Charlotte.
Yeah.
And she reminds me of, I keep thinking of Lottie from Bad Machinery.
Okay.
Which is a great comic and Lottie is an amazing character, by the way. If anybody wants, like, a cute, super British web comic featuring some high school mystery solving hijinks, can't do better. Bad Machinery. Check it out. Anyway, Lotta, Carl, and Hans, killer designs. Really, really good character designs, all around. Carl, in particular, has a really, lovely, really pleasant, but not too revealing face. I don't know. I just like looking at him. I like his little curly hair.
That's the other thing I'll say that like adds to how far this feels from the rest of the plot. We haven't seen any faces like this before. Like, I've made comments where it's like, hey, these characters kind of look like ones that we've seen before, or this is a face that is kind of familiar. We haven't seen anyone who looks like these three.
Yeah, totally.
So that it really threw me, but yeah, what a sad boy Carl is. I really like Lotta. I think she's a very fun character. Just like
Lotta's great. I have a crush on Lotta. You can have your crush on
Nina. Yeah, I will continue to.
But Lotta, like, she's just like a nosy detective girl.
She predates the way that girls Instagram stalk you by like 20 or 30 years.
Yes. Yeah. Cute in the 90s.
Good for her. Yeah.
Good for her. And also her and Carl and Lotta have great chemistry.
Yeah.
Like I really like seeing them interact.
I really like how he offers to go with her, and she's like, "Oh, great! That'll make me brave enough to do it because I haven't done it before."
It's so cute.
It's sweet. I really like the kind of the dark, gloomy panels of she says, oh, it's basically like a Victorian myth, right? That he's the vampire of Bavaria. I love the way those panels where she's describing what he does are drawn. They look like ink platings or something, or gory paintings almost. They're funky. They look a little bit different from the rest of the.
Yeah, totally. They're stylized as heck. Yeah, that's really fun. I think a note that I have here is that we actually see what happens when Urasawa is trying to sexualize women. Because there's a thing here where like we're in the red light district, and then there's a few shots of that really let you know, hey, there's sex work happening here. There's some like full on titty out. A couple of seductive poses. And this is really interesting because it means that before, in episode, 3, I think it was? Or is it 4? I don't know. Whatever.
We talked about Nina. Yeah, it's episode
Exactly.
4 where we say
Nina.
how Nina's drawn, and it's like the most chaste shot of a butt imaginable.
Exactly. And here we see he absolutely can, like, make something sexy. It means that he very deliberately chose not to do that with Nina.
Well,
like,
I mean, I think double up on that in the chapter where Roberto's threatening Ava. We see Ava's bare ass in that chapter, and it is not like drawn
it looks good.
lushly or whatever. It's
well, it's
maybe it is a little bit. Like, I don't know. It's a sexy scene. That's from like a '90s thriller.
It is.
That's like
absolutely.
like
She's
Basic
like
Instinct or something.
With the blanket. She's got some curves on her. You know, well, it's like, how do I put it? Like when Urasawa sexualizes someone, it's not egregious, and it's not like, it doesn't exaggerate. It is a very grounded sexuality.
Okay. Yeah.
Is going to be my take on that. So anyway, but I just think it's cool that when it came to those shots of Nina, he chose not to make her like super visibly sexy to the audience. He didn't want to do. He did exactly as much as he had to get his point across, and went no further. Maybe that was intentional, maybe not. But I kind of err on the side of thinking it might be.
I thought it was fun that when they realize where they are, Lada's like, "Oh, come on, he's just a perv."
Yeah, talk about disappointing, she says.
Do you have any other notes on that one, or is it on to 48?
I love fake Margot Langer.
Oh yeah, she's fun.
She's a badass, and another cool new character design. Yeah. She's cool.
Let's see.
She's just straight up like cool.
Yeah, I mean, she saw an opportunity and she took it.
Absolutely. Yeah, all right, let's move on.
Chapter 48 is Thursday's Boy. So 47 was Tuesday's Boy, 48 is Thursday's Boy. I like the way that this chapter opens, so I'm going to describe the opening. This is in color in the Perfect Edition. We see shots of people walking by on campus with... In each kind of frame, there's like someone blonde that we can't like quite see their face, or like we can see part of their face or whatever. And we hear Carl kind of thinking through what fake Margot Langer has told him, right? That someone also recently came by, the Thursday's Boy, the tall blonde one. And he's wondering, who is this tall blonde boy on campus who is pretending to have my backstory? And then we get his backstory, right? We flash back to, his mom, the real Margot Langer, sending him away on a train, telling him that, he has to leave, otherwise he'll just end up in an orphanage, in foster care. And they have a little discussion about, who his father is, how he abandoned them. And Margot kind of says, like, don't hate him. I don't want you to hate him. And then he asks why he can't ask his father for help. Margot says he should wait till he's an adult, and to not expect anything. But she gives him something. We don't see what this something that she's given him is, and says, your father wanted you to have this, hold on to this. And then we cut back to the present day, where Lada and Carl look for the Thursday Boy, who Lada has discovered his name is Edmund Farin, but they are unable to find him. We cut to another reading. Carl reads for Schewald, who's quiet and mumbles something about the boy not being after his money. He asks Carl why Carl sticked around. Is it just for the money? And Carl says no. It's not just for the money. And there's a moment where he's about to reveal that he thinks he's this man's son. He grips the chair, but then decides not to. Schewald compliments Carl, saying his Latin has improved. Carl and Lada plan to catch Farin on Thursday when he shows up to read for Schewald, but he doesn't. So they go to his dorm and find that he's hung himself, seemingly out of a guilty conscience. Lada guesses it's for deceiving Schewald and pretending to be his son. The Supernatural Club publishes a story about the coming of a monster named Thursday's Boy, and people kind of treat it with like as a joke. As Lada and Carl reflect on what to do next, Friday's Boy shows up. Lada knows Friday's Boy. And Friday's Boy is revealed to be Johann Liebert, a law student at the university in Munich.
Bum bum.
Bum bum bum.
Ba-ba-bum. Yeah. I don't have a whole awful lot on this chapter.
The only thing that I had was we talked about the mechanics of the Thursday Boy prophecy. I think one line was that he would burn the campus down and everyone would be sad. And there's a line where Lotta says, like, everyone's talking about that dude that hung himself and is really bummed out. And that's the only thing that I, like, and that just, I kind of hate that a little bit.
Yeah. The fucking prophecy. Ugh. I also, listeners, it is really funny. Matt's paraphrasing of the prophecy is very funny because the prophecy is, like he said, a little more like a riddle, a little more like a prophecy-esque sort of thing. And then Matt's just over here playing fast and just being like, everyone's gonna have a really bad time. I just think it's really funny.
That's what it's not Nosferatu. Who was the
Nostradamus.
guy? Nostradamus.
Nostradamus. Yeah. And in 2000, everyone's gonna be just kind of bummed out for a while. It opens in color, and in particular, there's a scene. There's a big shot, full page shot of Carl hanging outside of the university. It's really pretty, really great architecture. I just really like looking at it. And during the flashback, there's Carl as a kid, and I really like how Urasawa draws his hair in particular. It's like these thick lines, and he just leaves the blank white for the highlights. It's really cool. Look closely, just take a nice close look at it if you happen to have the manga. I think it's a neat little technique that he used there. Let's see. I think there's a cool thing where Rolada's like, if you don't care about the money, why do you want to denounce Edmund Farren for pretending to be the son? And he said, and Carl says, I just don't like him pretending or claiming to be my mother's son. And I think that's a really, I just think that's a cool motivation.
Yeah, I'm glad you added that.
It's very sentimental. It's very, a lot of pathos, a lot of pathos there, and that always gets me.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention that in the summary, so I'm glad you brought that up, because I do think that might be important for my called shot of what's going to happen next, that I'll talk about at the end.
Very, very excited. Very excited for that. And there's also, like, I am not an orphan. I haven't been in the foster system. I don't think I know or am close with anyone who has. But I do like the storyline because, like, Carl's motivation for trying to find his birth parents is, he tells us that he loves his foster parents very dearly and considers them his real parents. And so he wants to find his birth parents more or less so that he can let them go, so that he can unhook himself, and so that he can really just, like, fully embrace his foster parents without, like, the nag of what are my birth parents like. And I don't know how accurate or not that is to those experiences, and I don't want to claim to, but just as a fiction, as a fiction imbiber, it's a motivation that I haven't seen before.
Did I breeze over that? I think we both did. Like, okay. It was kind of like that was specified mostly in the last chapter, but it's not super. It's here it is. We're going over it now. Okay, we got it. Yeah. We got it. Yeah. No, I think that's interesting. Like you said. I think the scene where he confronts or where he's reading for Schuwald, I think that's a little bit clunky. But I do think it's actually, I think it's good. I'm a sucker for this kind of, like, how this guy who's horrible, like, who's been nothing but mean to him, how he drops the one compliment, like, your Latin has improved.
Yeah.
That might just say more about me than anything else, but...
I was about to say...
Look, you gotta look for the positive in any situation. Keep holding on to that hope. No, please do not, listeners.
Yeah, the conversation here is kind of disjointed, and I guess it's written to be that way on purpose, but I don't know how... It's one of those things where, like, realism doesn't necessarily do what you want in a fictional context.
Yeah.
And my go-to example for this, actually, when I was directing theater, the note that I gave constantly, absolutely endlessly, people love to sigh, right? When you're in a high stress conversation or situation, you do a lot of sighing because you're stressed and you want to get that tension out and try and get to the next thing. And so that, and especially on stage, when you're, people are looking at you, you feel even more tense, and so you want to sigh, you want to go, huh. But when you do that, even though it's a very realistic thing to do, and people do it all the time, when you breathe out, it deflates the tension, because you've just let some of your tension out, and the audience's mirror neurons fucking fire, and the scene loses some of its energy. So you have to sacrifice that realism of being able to sigh when you feel the need to sigh, so that you can keep the tension super high. And this, and so this scene is another example of, this is a very realistic conversation, I would say, between an old person who's kind of out of it and in their guilt,
Mm-hmm.
And another person, but that realism doesn't serve the audience's experience of the scene. It detracts.
Yeah. No, I think that's good. I was flipping through pages while you were talking. I'm looking at the page where they break into Farron's apartment and find him hanging.
That's a big one.
It reminded me
you're right,
of when Nina and Tenma come home and find her parents murdered, because it goes silent before they open the door. Like the page before they open the door. I mean, I guess we've got like them knocking on the...
Yeah, what is this? There's actually there are some sound effects, which I'm going to assume... Oh, those are sirens!
Oh.
Those are sirens. It's actually Papo, Papo.
Boo. It is. I'm reading it. Listeners, I see that it says Papo, Papo.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's interesting. Actually, seeing that those are the sound effects does change the feeling of the page. Because now it's noisy.
It doesn't feel like we've got the violins like tuning up.
No,
right?
I definitely I thought that those sound effects were probably the rope creaking. But the sirens playing really accelerates the momentum of the page, because the sirens coming in is getting you ready to jump into when the police.
We're time skipping. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a time skip. I don't know. I kind of liked it better with the rope creaking, but maybe that's just because I love a Wham page. But it is really cool. His body is in silhouette. We should probably pop suicide into the...
I think it's already in there, but I will
double check. Is it already in there?
I'm pretty sure it's in there.
Let's double check. Yeah. Monster. The gift that keeps on giving.
I still can't believe, listeners, I will say it every time the content warnings come up. I cannot believe that the default content warnings I found for this story did not include Nazis in the content warnings.
It's just, you would just think... Yeah. Here's a fucking thing. Matt. They found a note, right? They found a note that says, "I cannot continue to deceive." You know what they did? They printed it in the school paper. They printed his suicide note in the school fucking paper. Why?
I missed that. That sucks. Oh,
That's
man.
Such a shitty thing to do. It's bizarre. And, I can only imagine it was done so that there was a reason for Carl and Lotta to know what it said and have a little conversation about it, as they do. But what the fuck, truly.
Yeah, that's pretty terrible.
Jesus Christ. Oh, man.
Oh, is Johann's a page turn? Johann's a Jack in the Box.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a good...
Look at these. Yeah. They're everywhere. All the time, Jack in the Boxes.
As soon as we had a name for them.
We just see them everywhere.
Yeah.
It's that, whatever that one is called.
Johann Liebert. He's in the law
He's a law student, just like Nina was. There's mentions of twins a couple times in these past two chapters. Twins is another thing to continue thinking about.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
Okay. Do you have any more notes of this one, or are we on to 49?
No. Okay.
Okay.
Chapter 49.
The riddle left behind.
Well, okay, you got me. Urasawa open, baby? Number 2, baby?
Here we go.
We open on Dr. Reichwein's Psychological Counseling Center, with Dr. Reichwein himself and a private investigator named Richard. And we learn a little bit. Richard is there for a session, but is also asking his doctor about a face. He's asking him, hey, do you think this face... is this the face of a con man? Is this the face of a person who would commit suicide? And the doctor is like, absolutely not. But guess what? This is Edmund Fahren, who apparently did try to con Schuvald and did commit suicide. We follow Richard as he does a little investigating. He goes back to he goes to the police department. He talks to someone who he used to work with. We find out he got drunk on the job and shot a serial killer. And that's why he's out of the force, and that's why he's currently a private investigator. He gets to Edmund Fahren's room, does a little bit of investigating, and happens to find a suspicious text. In this case, a book, just in the nick of time. And in this book, there is an underlined passage. He gets a school kid to translate it. And it's the suicide note. Interesting. We transition to the roof. Carl is up on the roof, and there's Johann. He walks along the edge of the roof and doesn't seem to have a problem with it, and asks Carl about his childhood. We find out that Edmund Fahren's suicide note wasn't a suicide note at all. It was just a line that he had translated out of a book. And Johann, having heard Carl's story, cries.
Yep, that's what happens. Hey, Quinn, is this Private Detective Columbo? I don't think he is, but he just one more thing. He did the turnaround, and he's kind of like a little frumpy looking. I mean, he's not as frumpy as Columbo.
Did he do the one more thing? What one more thing did he do? I'd like to take a look at the scene. It's kind of a one more thing. He isn't exactly a Columbo, but he is a rumpled detective.
Where did it say his name? Because when I was writing my summary, I was looking for his name and couldn't find it. And I was like, well, maybe this is like a reveal that's going to happen?
No, it's blink and you'll miss it. It's on the early pages. Okay. My intuition, what do you take me for, Richard? I'm not a fortune teller.
Oh, yeah, okay. I just missed it. Yeah.
Yeah, easy to miss. Yeah, these, we got ourselves some characters.
Yeah, I really like this detective, and I really hope that I don't think this is going to happen. I don't think he's an important enough character to stick around. But this story of how he got drunk and shot the serial killer, I hope and pray that this is a Chekhov's gun for he's going to join in the hunt for Johann and will get a chance to redeem himself hunting this real serial killer.
It would be
great if that happened.
It would be pretty cool. It's also, and it's just neat to, I don't know, spend time with the character in recovery. Like he's certainly carrying some fucking baggage. He fucked up hard and killed someone.
Yeah.
And killing someone has weight in Monster.
Can't come back from it.
Unless you're Nina Fortner and it was self-defense, then it's just fine. We won't talk about it. Actually.
I like that he calls his coworker Slowpoke Martin, and there's the tossed-off line where he's like, "When did Slowpoke Martin get so good at his job? Damn it!"
Yeah,
because he's like got to sprint to get to the crime scene.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to talk about coincidence? He just finds the one book He finds the one book on the shelf, and technically it's like a smaller book than the other books, but he finds this, he just happens to find the right book, he just happens to flip to the page that has the one underlined thing, you know.
It's like a fun little joke he gets to do, a fun dad joke where he's like, what is this, Spanish? Latin? It's all Greek to me.
Yeah, that is cute. The college student that he bothers to translate it is a funny... I love this. He's such like a freaky little freaked out guy. He's like, you gotta be kidding me. If I fail this class, you know, he's so mad.
I love the sweater that guy's wearing too.
Oh yeah, it's some 90s shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this guy's on speed.
Hey, so did Johan know that Carl was going to be up on that roof? It's interesting that Carl gets up there. It's like, this is Carl's happy place. Johan's already there, and Johan's up a level higher than Carl usually goes. Carl doesn't like to go up there because he's afraid of heights.
Yeah, I'm positive that Johan knew Carl went up here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you have notes before we talk about the Johan-Carl conversation, or are we ready to jump to there?
Nope.
Okay, the thing that I thought was interesting was that while Carl is giving his story, Johan is facing away. We can't see his face.
Yeah.
Because there's always the preoccupation with people seeing Johan's face.
Yeah, he's facing away from Carl. That's a good point. I noticed that, like, we get a bunch of shots. We have 6 shots of the back of Johan's head on a 2-page spread alone. Right? So Urasawa is very intentionally keeping us from seeing his face unless it's important for us to do so. How do you feel about hanging out with Johan?
To me, what this reminded me of is everything that people say about Johan, like the people who he's manipulated, who we run into later, right? Like there was the guy who Tenma found with Otto, who was like, you know, he said such nice things to me, he listened, he was such a good friend, and how the serial killer from last episode said that, you know, Johan was an excellent letter writer, he made him feel listened to, stuff like that. And how Rudy told us, hey, Johan's power is he can penetrate these people's solitude, right? Like he listens to them. He can smell out these people who are like potential murderers.
Whoa. Wait a second.
Yeah.
He can penetrate their solitude. Johan... Oh, that's fucking weird. This might throw a wrench in my thesis. Or my hypothesis, I should say. But it's really interesting. Johan's power is connection.
Yeah.
Johan's power is being able to connect with people who can't connect.
Well, it's the connection and then it's the manipulation. It's like the second piece of it.
And it's also like, it's only one way. Right? He will never tell anyone anything real about himself, or basically anything about himself at all. So it's disingenuous. It's selfish.
That's interesting.
But his power, it seems like his power is to make people feel truly listened to. I mean, Carl says, I feel like I can tell you anything.
Right. And then, it ends with him crying. Carl says, you're crying for me?
Yeah.
Right? Like, he feels cared for by this.
Yeah. I basically have a... Oh, there's a Jack in the Box. There's an interesting Jack in the Box.
Ooh.
Which is... So, Carl goes, it's weird, I feel like I can tell you anything. Johan is like, the father in your story, the rich magnate. It's Schuvald, isn't it? And then we get a shot of him reaching out towards Carl, and his hand is right behind his back, and the page ends with Carl looking at the camera, and we're like, oh fuck, is Johan just gonna push this dude right off the roof? But he doesn't. He just he takes Carl's hand and is crying. And I think that's cool. So here's my question for you, Matt, with regards to this chapter, because this is easily, by far, the most time we've actually spent with Johan.
Yeah.
And we're gonna spend more time with Johan as the manga goes on, of course. But what does this chapter do for you with regards to the two personalities theory? Do you think it provides us any evidence one way or the other?
I mean, it might. Like, the face turn thing was one thing, right? Like, my thought, I might have written down, like, okay, is he in monster mode when we can't see him, right? Like, I don't know. But I do think it's interesting that Johan is at least able to affect, like, a normal teenage college student in these chapters where we've seen him, as opposed to, like, criminal mastermind Johan. Because I think the only other time we've heard him talk was when he gave his monologue to Tenma before he killed Junkers, right? And then we've seen his, like, crazy paintings when he murders a bunch of people, right? Like his graffiti. So it feels, that to me feels like a different character, but it might just be a character pretending to be someone else, right? Like, I don't know if he's doing a bit like being this normal college student, or if it's like this is truly a different mode.
And then also, it really strikes me that, like, here he's making Carl feel listened to. He's crying for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to imagine that this is also how he became close with all those serial killers.
Right.
So here's kind of my take on what this chapter says about this theory. Is that even if he does have two personalities, like I said last time, it's both murder all the way down.
Right.
And even the nice one is still fucking weird.
Yeah. No, that tracks. I mean, because what you said about, like, what he's doing here is the same thing he does with the murderers. This leads to what my prediction for what's going to happen in the next set of chapters is Johan's going to try to push Carl to murder Schuwald. And like, based on this conversation, based on the fact that, like, the thing that really seemed to bother Carl was, you know, how this person was pretending to be his mother's son, like the kind of resentment that he feels towards, that it's implied that he might feel towards Schuwald for abandoning them. Like, I feel like all the seeds are there. And is that what we're seeing, right? Like, we're getting to see it live, Johan doing his thing?
Well, I don't think, I mean, Johan doesn't have a reason to kill Schuwald, is the...
Right.
Well, at least we don't know.
We don't know. He might, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting stuff. I only have one more note for this chapter. Which is that throughout this whole conversation, Johan has been walking on the very edge, like a thin, like 4-inch wide lip, maybe 6-inch wide lip of the roof. And Carl is like, "You're gonna fall," and Johan's like, "No, I'm not. See, you know." And I just think this is a fun little. It's showing us that Johan has no fear of death because he does not value his own life, because he does not value life at all.
Interesting. Yeah, it's when the way you just described it, it's some real Griffith and Guts from Berserk energy.
Oh man! Oh, how have we not pulled Griffith in for Johan yet? I guess I think I said at the very beginning
Griffith is that he was pretty boy like Griffith, but I haven't finished Berserk, so I don't know.
Chapter 50.
What's the title of Chapter 50, Quinn?
The Secret Forest.
The Secret Forest. I think that's also the title of this Tankobon volume when I looked on Wikipedia, which is interesting that they decided to name the whole volume after this chapter, but it is what it is. Carl and Lotta discuss Schuwald, who has stopped eating out of depression at his supposed son's suicide. Carl doesn't want to reveal that he's Schuwald's real son, as he believes Schuwald can only think in terms of money and will think Carl's a fraud. Johan appears, angelic and flanked by children. The private detective reveals his suspicion of murder to Schuwald, who is too depressed to care. He doesn't care that Farron wasn't his son, even when the detective warns of foul play, danger, a grand evil conspiracy. Schuwald says there are things in life you can never take back. The detective leaves, determined to continue his investigation. Johan reveals he's been working with an organization dedicated to children's rights and volunteers with orphans. He also reveals that Schuwald has a place he likes to go when things go bad for him, a forest. The three, they do a little bit with Schuwald's bodyguard where they lock him in a bathroom, and they take him to the forest, but realize that it has been razed, cut down, whatever, and there's a factory that's there. Carl is too stunned to speak and is about to tell Schuwald, who is they've said, he can't see very well, and like in this chapter it's, hey, he's basically blind. Carl's about to tell Schuwald the forest is gone, but Johann comes up behind them and lies and says that he can see the forest, and he paints such a beautiful and convincing picture that Carl can see it too. Meanwhile, the detective meets with the prostitute we met earlier, fake Margot Langer.
Yeah, we don't know her name.
We don't know her name. And she reveals the same thing that she told the kids, right? 2 groups came to her, each with a boy claiming to be Schuwald's son. One was Lotta and Carl, and the other was Farin, and a 4th boy who was blonde and charismatic and was the one who did like all of the talking in that scenario.
And that is Johann.
Yeah.
And that's all for this. Ha ha ha. This is quite a short chapter.
Yeah, it speeds by.
Yeah, this one is just like boop, blinking, it's gone. Let's see. Okay, so you pointed out Johann, angelic, flanked by children. You want to talk about this some more?
Yeah, so I mean, Lotta and Carl are talking, and like kids come into frame, and we're like, "What's going on?" And they're all like mumbling and talking to themselves, and then Johann rounds the corner and is like, "I have the solution to our problems." And it's that soft lighting that you called out from earlier, right? It's another one of those. And then when we come back to him, he's like, "Yeah, I volunteer with kids, abuse kids, working with like the UN to get children's rights implemented."
He's really
or
laying
whatever.
it on thick.
It's so lame. And then he's like, "Yeah, also I volunteer with orphans."
Yeah, he specifies that the volunteer work I do with orphans is separate from that. I just do it for my own enjoyment.
Yeah.
Like, okay, dude.
This is not what's happening, but part of me was like, is he looking for another... Is he doing the thing that all the guys did where they're looking for, the next Johann or whatever, like Dr. Hartman was doing with Dieter? Yeah. But I don't think that's what's happening here. I just think Johann's a douche.
Yeah. You know what I think is actually interesting? That I only really registered this as I was flipping through it during your summary. Johann is almost expressionless all the time.
It's that serene look just all the time. The slight smile, soft face.
Very slight smile. Even when he was crying, his face didn't change very much. He just had tears coming down. And that, I think that's evidence in the one personality bank to me.
That's fair.
Like, I think, at the very least, it's like this guy is... He's emotionless, which is one of the few things we have known for sure about Johann. It's a concrete fact is that even in his most violent murders, he shows no emotion. And I think it says something that he also shows no emotion in his everyday life to people.
I buy that.
Yeah, but that's just what we have. That's just what we have right now.
I had a note that I think it's interesting that twice now, this has happened twice, Schuwald feels guilt about people pretending to be the people that he actually should feel guilty about, right? With Margot Langer, and then with this kid who's killed himself who was pretending to be his son.
That's true. Yeah, both times he's like, it doesn't matter that they weren't the real ones.
Right. And so, I don't know if that confirms what Margot Langer said, right? Like, he only cares about money and, the act of absolving himself. Like, he doesn't care about the people he's actually hurt. Or if it's in the opposite direction where, he really actually does care and he can't find the people that he needs to make right to.
I think it's closer to that, I would say. It's just, because it's not like, you wouldn't be like, oh... my fake son died. Well, good thing I have another fake son right here. He doesn't even know that Carl's in the running.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I can understand just wanting to feel guilt to feel it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, closure is a huge thing, right? I mean, everyone always talks about... And that's what you said about Carl, right? He's looking for his parents so he can feel this closure for his foster parents. And, that is the moral of, every single rom-com, right? Is people looking for closure. It's an important thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a super important exchange here. There are things in this life you can never take back.
Which we have said is murder, right? Like that.
Yep.
In the language of Monster, murder is one of those things, right? So like that, you saying that, I felt the resonance when I read it through this time. So it's.
Yeah. I didn't remember that this line was here, as I've been saying it all these episodes. I read this and I was like, yes, yes. Yeah. And I really like Richard's response to that. Do you know that there are things in life you can never take back? And Richard says, sure I do. I know it well.
Mm-hmm.
And man,
that's good.
It's a great translation.
We love an ex-cop haunted by their past on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You might not, I do.
No, I'm in for it. No, I like, because it's also, he's not just haunted by his past, he's in psychotherapy.
He's in recovery. Yeah, he's working to get better because of it, right?
Yeah, and we've all struggled with stuff, and so there's tons of narratives. There's absolutely, I can't even hold all of the pulp novels about ex-cops haunted by their past. But I bet I could count the number of those novels including a therapist for the main character. How many of those motherfuckers had a therapist? This guy's got a therapist. And it feels a bit like, now that I say it out loud, it feels a bit like Urasawa consciously playing with the trope. And being like, get this man a therapist. And I really like seeing it.
It is interesting that I think this story has been largely pro-therapist.
Hugely,
maybe this comes a little bit later, but like this was a thing that came up when I was watching The Sopranos over the past couple of years and talking about it with people in the Brain Trust. Join the Brain Trust, brain emoji, handshake emoji. But one of the things that came up was, I think the view of therapy that show ends up having at the end is pretty negative, even though that's
really?
like one of the way, and it is in some ways kind of a quick turnaround, but something that our friend Will Yobes brought up was it's just very reflective of, I think, the general kind of opinion of therapy at the time, right? Like that it was this novelty, right? That it was, just almost kind of, like, I hesitate to say the word masturbatory, but like,
or it's a luxury, it's something you don't really need.
Right.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And the even more striking is not just the time, but also the source. If you think that our attitudes on therapy are like kind of negative, the East is, like Japan is not very hot on therapy. Or even like discussing mental health. That's something that has been like a big problem for them recently, and I'm sure was just as much the case in the 90s. So it's wild that Urasawa's out here in 95 going, therapy's the good shit.
We've had so many therapists show up so far. Yeah.
So many therapists, and all of them are good. All of them care so much for their patients, at least, or for their work. Like, you could argue that what was his name?
Rudy.
Yeah, you could argue that Rudy
had some issues, but he solved them.
He had some issues. Yeah, and Reichwein, I'll just tell you, Reichwein, I remember Reichwein sticking around, and he's great. So it's really super cool. I love it. I appreciate it.
I really like the shot of them walking up to the crater. It made my stomach drop. I was like, oh man.
It fucking hurts. Oh, it's really hard. It's really hard
rough
to see. Yeah. And we also see the power that Johann has.
Mm-hmm.
We see what he's like capable of doing with words alone.
Yeah, he is so convincing that everyone can see, or at least Carl, can imagine this forest that Johann is describing.
Hans, not Carl.
And Hans as well. But I think Carl can see it too, because he makes a face like, "Oh my word."
No, I think no, I think that's him looking at Johann. Like, what the fuck did you just do?
I read it as, oh my gosh, this dude is... Alright, hang on, let me look at those panels. Yeah, I mean, because he's looking at him, shocked. Yeah, okay. I think, yeah, because it's the old man can see it, and then Carl's just kind of looking back and forth nervously. Okay. Still, yeah, we see Johann's whole deal.
Yeah.
Away with words.
Away with words. Yeah, and then it finishes up with Richard finding out that there was a fourth boy and going, well, who the fuck is that? And then that's the stinger. That's the stinger for this reading. You know, the first time I read this reading, I was feeling really weird about it. But especially after, you know, I read it again to take notes and then talking about it this time, it's definitely not the best by a long shot, but I don't hate it either. I think it's
good. It's fine.
It's good. There's just less that happens. This has the least number of things happening of any of the readings so far, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think there was as much like stuff for us to dig into. Was the other thing, like,
no.
You know,
I like the conversations that we did have. Like,
yeah.
There's some. It's still like the themes and everything are still being developed, but in terms of like, oh, here's some fun action. Oh, here's something that really moves the plot forward.
Mm-hmm.
That momentum feels like it's totally.
It really has slowed
hold.
down. Yeah.
Like, yeah, it kind of feels like, you know, we've been. Like we just finished a fucking ski hill or like a roller coaster, and now like where I don't even think it's a roller coaster. It just feels like Urasawa is like paddling us out into the middle of a lake on a rowboat, and I'm like, oh well, I guess this lake is kind of nice, you know, but also time's a wasting.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good read. So okay, do we want to do segments? Because you already said that the people who would be rocking this week are. Who was it? Who was rocking?
Underground Bankers.
Underground Bankers are rocking this week. Thank you for checking in for which dudes rock this week.
Yeah. Yeah, those Underground Bankers, they're laundering the money, and their wives are dying. So, you know.
Tenma moment.
Tenma moment. Oh, sorry, I'm internet poisoned.
No, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I'll keep it in there. I just had to keep it moving because it's 11:30 and I have to be up early tomorrow to go look at these dogs.
Yeah, let's get this done. Chop chop. Tenma moment is to look at these dogs. Whatever.
Yeah, I'll send pics of the dogs.
Great, beautiful. If you're subscribed to us on Patreon, you'll get pics of the. No, you won't.
If they were my dogs, I would post pictures. They're my friends' dogs. I'm taking care of my friends' dogs while they're out of town.
There you go. Gotta, propriety. Dog privacy.
Yeah.
Tenma moment is that moment when he says, how could I possibly be calm? And starts walking toward Lunga, even with the gun pointed at him.
That's good.
It's my Tenma moment. Because it's Tenma making a choice.
Yeah. This is kind of like a hybrid Tenma Lunga moment, but when Lunga slaps up against the car... Right? Tenma's like, oh my god. And then Lunga, it's a funny shot. We didn't really talk about it. Lunga has passed out and is like sliding down the window of the car slowly.
Yeah, you can almost hear the 90s comedy. It's great. That is fun. Okay, named character moment. Yeah. Do you know that there are things in this life that you can never take back?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I think I like Carl looking at all the blonde dudes walking by on campus, wondering, is it him? Is it him? Because that's not really like even a line. I like that. opening to the chapter a lot.
That's a really cool pick. It is very thriller and very, yeah. I like that. Thanks for bringing that back up.
Yeah.
And then side character, unnamed character moments. Not a lot of those. This reading, I actually have to say. Okay, actually, no, I do know what it is. There's a point where there's a couple of, like college students or whatever, and one of them is like, did you seriously buy that stupid Paranormal Society paper? And he's like, yeah, I can't believe I did. It's a bunch of baloney. The Thursday boy. Pleh. And then he throws it on the ground.
I like that. That's fun.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
For me, it was the two detectives who work with Lunga, who the look that they give each other when the nurse says that he's been perfectly pleasant. That made me laugh. I like that.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Yeah. So next time we will be reading the beginning of Volume 4.
Yeah, 51 through 59, I believe it is.
Perfect. Okay. That is Tankobon 7? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this was
it's Tankobon. It's Tankobon 7. If for some fucking reason you've got the Tankobons. Matt, who are you?
Hey.
And how did you get in my house?
You let me in through the internet. I am Matt
No.
Fennell. You can find me at blarple.net. I think I'm going to post a
You should have just stopped the sentence right there. I think I'm going to post.
I think I'm going to post a review of the Double Fine documentary on Psychonauts 2 that just came out a couple weeks ago. We will read excerpts of that review in the next episode of Maintaining Balance that we record. But blarble.net is my blog. That's where I write things. On Twitter, I run the Urasawa Boys Twitter at Urasawa Boys. And I'm on Discord if we hang out there. Quinn, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at 200 Proof Games. That's 200 Proof Games. You can find me on TikTok at authenticity.trip, I believe. Probably would be good if I could really for sure remember, but I'm pretty confident.
I think that's it.
I have a Substack that I haven't posted anything on. Maybe I'll start posting something on it. But I can't remember what that is either. So we'll just save that for next time.
Yeah, save it for next time.
Other than that, find me on Discord or something. Shoot me some DMs. Subscribe to our Patreon.
We've got a Patreon.
And by God, we will have bonus content available.
Yeah, stuff's going to go up on there eventually.
Very soon. I have already begun taking notes on the anime. So for all of you who are like, dang, I really wish that they would talk about the anime. We're gonna, but only on the Patreon. So, if you're a big anime fan and you want to hear any anime-specific thoughts we have about this, Patreon's where you're going to get them.
Yeah. I think that's it. Do you want to take us out?
Yeah. Listen, everybody. I just want to say thanks for listening, and thanks for being a friend.
Thanks for being a friend.